It's time for another episode of what has to be my favourite series on the channel at the minute. You guys have been sending through your favourite players in Football Manager. We take a look at them, review them, give them a score out of 10 and decide if that player is overpowered or not. We've got some great suggestions in today's video, a full team of 11, all of different price points available for all different kinds of teams, so hopefully there's something for everyone. So with that being said, we'll get right into our team of 11 in a second, but first of all, if you do enjoy the video, please go ahead and smash that like button for us. Comment down below your favourite players in case we do another episode in this series. Remember, they don't have to be Wonderkids, they can be any age. We're just looking for players that you've used in FM that you think are really great and maybe not everyone talks about. Like obviously, if you put Haaland or Mbappe in the comments, we all know they're good, right? But there's some players that we just never heard of. You guys mention them, we take a look and everyone goes, why have I not been signing him? And that's what we're after. So comment down below any of those players that you know about, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into player number 1. Now there's been 2 previous episodes of this series where we've ranked your guys' most overpowered players, and interestingly enough, this player had the most likes in the comments from the last episode, the one that everyone seems to be suggesting, and it was a goalkeeper. His name is Mateo Rizzo. I was aware of him. I feel like we spoke about him on the channel before, but let's cover him anyway. Someone in the comments even replied to say, I love him that much. If I saw him in real life, I'd actually want to give him a hug. You know, whatever you want to do, go for it. But the 17-year-old Italian goalkeeper is out there playing for Pro Vercelli. They look to be in the 3rd division of Italian football in Serie C, and he is a very good goalkeeper, I must say, for a 17-year-old. Already an important player for his club. There's pretty much no chance he'll stay there for long. If he's in your save, you might want to move on him quick. Price point is very cheap for the kind of player you're getting, about 500k. Will do the job. Goalkeeping attributes are actually really strong for a 17-year-old. I can see why people might like this man actually. 6'3", already got loads going for him, not really lacking in any area. He's passing in first touch. Fair enough, if that's low, but everything else is at a good level. Maybe not the best physically or mentally, but that's going to come with time. I think we're off to a very strong start here, and because I'll compare him to other goalkeepers instead of other players, I think for his age, there's probably not too many that can compete with him at that price point. I'm going to give him a 9.5 out of 10. Great suggestion from you guys. Now we'll move on to the next player. And I think this one is a little bit more well-known in the Football Manager world, but still not really talked about as often as maybe he should be, and that is the German 17-year-old centre-back Leandro Morgala, who plays for 1816 München out in the 3rd division of Germany. Now obviously the good things about him is that he's 17 with great ability, he can play a few positions, but what you might not see up here is his personality of model citizen. That's the best personality you can get in Football Manager. To have that on such a young player is extremely promising and bodes well for his future development. Physical attributes nicely balanced, as are his mentals and technicals, and for about 1.5 million, he is very, very good value for money. Keep an eye on him, scout him, and he could be a great player for you. Probably one of the more well-known players on this list. As we go through the list, we'll start seeing some players that you definitely wouldn't have heard of. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10, I think. Great value player for the price you're getting. Easily going to be Bundesliga quality at some point. Check him out if you haven't already. And now this is where I'm going to come in with a pick of my own that wasn't actually given to me in the comments of the last video. This is one where I'm trying to give back to you guys for all the suggestions you've given to me, and it's a player that I really, really think you should all give a go, and his name is Ambala Zola of Club Brugge, a regular starter for the club, an Ivorian 19-year-old who's left-footed with decent passing ability but very good defensively, great physicals, nice mentals as well, and incredible leadership. Now there's 2 reasons I want to speak to you about him. One, I think he's a phenomenal player but not enough people are signing for a really good price. Club Brugge have done some excellent business there finding him. But 2, I actually signed him on a rebuild on my own channel where he ended up becoming one of the world's best, starting for PSG at centre-back. We signed him for our club and then he got bought off of us a few years later. So I got to see him firsthand what he could become with a bit of development, and he is incredible. Now that does segue on nicely as a side note to let you guys know if you want to check out my channel and those rebuilds, you can find it all linked below in the description, and I really would appreciate any support over there. At the time of recording, we're very close to 20k subs, like 50 subscribers off, so any support to get to that number would be absolutely phenomenal. But Ambala Zola, what a player. Number 94 as well, clearly a man that's got an eye for a flashy number on the back of his shirt. Obviously a little bit biased, one of my favourites in this whole list, but if you don't have enough money to sign him, then maybe you can look at this suggestion that we got in the comments of the Italian 24-year-old Felipe Sagabi of Perugia. They are a team out in the 2nd division of Italy, and you know there's a history of Italian defenders being very talented, and Sagabi here looks like a player that certainly fits the bill with a lot of great attributes. Now I did get a comment on the last episode saying I don't really understand the series. Some of these players aren't good enough to play for the best teams in the world. And that is true. When I say I'm looking for overpowered players and whatnot, I'm not really looking for your Haalands and your Mbappes. I'm looking for people that you might not have heard of, that when you put them in game, surprise you, a great value for money, and just a great options in the world of FM. So obviously Manchester City aren't going to be signing Felipe Sagabi here. But if you're in the top 5 leagues in a low-level team, maybe a relegation threatened side in the Bundesliga, in the Premier League, Serie A, then he could be a great pickup for around 1 million. An important player in the second division, probably bodes well that he could play in the top division of Italian football at the very least. A player that not many of us would have came across either. 24, a few years to get better, decent ball playing ability as well. A great set of attributes on him. Yes, he's not world class, but I'm going to give him a solid 7.5 out of 10. He's got a good price point, another 10 years left in his career. I certainly think he's worth going for, and he'd have pretty big resale value if you signed him and he started playing well. Now, I can't remember exactly how the comment was written, but I'm pretty sure the comment mentioning this player said something along the lines of he scored me 30 goals in a season. And this is a centre-back we're talking about right now by the name of Jake Cooper, which, by the way, is exactly the same as my name as well. I'm also Jake Cooper, but he's probably a bit more talented at football. He is Millwall's captain, an important player for the side, 6'7", and an absolute unit at the back. There are some attributes that he is absolutely awful with. Bear in mind, he's playing for a championship level side and is an important player for them. He's got no pace or acceleration. His technical ability is pretty low in most cases, but in other areas, he really begins to shine. Yes, he might not be great at some things, but he is phenomenal at some other aspects of his game. And the reason he probably scored so many goals for this guy is because he is a massive threat from set pieces. He's 6'7", and he has 19 jumping reach. This man is going to outjump probably even a goalkeeper with his arms in the air. That's how tall he is. 18 stamina, 16 strength, 16 heading. This man is going to battle everyone in the air, get his head to it, and score goals. He's a leader, good marking as well, in the prime of his career at the age of 27 for about 2 million. If you're a relegation threatened team in the Premier League, let's say, I think Jake Cooper could take the step up. Under Vincent Kompany, obviously Burnley play a different kind of football, but he, for me, is a Sean Dyche Burnley defender all over. I'm surprised they never actually signed him. Maybe he'll go to Everton, who knows? But yes, Jake Cooper, a great centre-back with a great name as well, 27 years of age, heading into his prime. Check him out if you haven't already. I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I mean, you'd need a very good corner tactic to actually get 30 goals this season, but you can see why he would be such a threat. Combine him with someone that's a bit pacier or play a low line, and he could be a great centre-back for you. We're away from the defenders now, so don't worry. We're looking at some more attacking talent, and I must say, this is one of the best suggestions we've had in any episode yet. He was actually mentioned in 2 separate comments, and his name is Martin Forsberg of Union Berlin. 26 years of age, 9 appearances for Norway, so he's about to head into his prime. And either I've spoke about him before and completely forgot, or I've never came across him. I don't know, but once I saw him, I just thought, I've got to put him in this video. He is just so good. He signed recently by Union Berlin, so you won't get him straight away. But for about £5 million, if you can pick this man up, he is going to be insane. I mean, he's 6'2" in the centre of midfield, which makes him quite a big threat already. Adding 16 strength, 19 stamina, 16 work rate, 18 teamwork, natural fitness and jumping reach of a high level, heading ability as well. He's a workhorse who's going to battle hard for your team. He's a model professional with 20 determination, one of the best personalities you can get. Does that mean he's no good technically? Well, I mean, he's not the best, but he's still a decent passer. He can tackle well, good first touch. As a ball-winning midfielder in your midfield, he's going to allow everybody else to flourish in an attacking sense and do so much hard work for you. Box-to-box midfielder, he'd be great at too, but if we highlight ball-winning midfielder on the defence duty, I really don't think there's many options better than him. There's the famous quote where Neil Warnock says you've got to die for 3 points, and I think if you ask Martin Forsberg to do that for you on the pitch, he actually might do it. He's going to work so hard for you and your team. I think Union Berlin have got a fantastic player here. Check him out if you haven't already. Great value too. I'm going to give him a 9.5 out of 10. And now we move on to what I think is the most talented player in this list, the player with the highest transfer valuation as well, and could actually play for your Manchester Cities I mentioned earlier. This is someone for the more elite level teams, but he was mentioned in the comments, and I thought we'll take a look at him. Pedro Goncalves is a phenomenal midfielder who can play central midfield as a number 10, on the wing, or even in a few other positions if you really asked him. 23 years of age, a Portuguese international with very good attributes all around, but particularly his technicals, he is amazing. I mean, 16 technique, 14 passing, 15 vision. He's a playmaker, sure. Well, not just that, because he's got 17 finishing as well. So he's a playmaker that can score goals, but can he actually do anything with the ball? I mean, he can dribble past people for fun. He can crack a long shot, great first touch. He's a set piece whiz. He's got great agility. He's quick as well. What more could you want from a midfielder? He's got some great traits as well. He's playing for Sporting Club de Portugal out in the Portuguese divisions, and if someone like Manchester City came along for him, I think he'd actually end up playing lots of games for them. I think he's a top-level player, someone that is clearly so good in the FM world. I don't even have to use him to know how good he'll be. Make sure you check this guy out if you've got the kind of cash for him. He's got another 10 years left of his career yet. And if you give him game time and give him the opportunity to impress you, I really do think you are going to be blown away by him. Now, in terms of talent, he's a 10 out of 10, but because of his price point, it's going to put a few people off. So I think we'll put him at an 8.5, 9 out of 10. A great player, but I mean, you'd have to be a real high-level club to take him off of the Portuguese side's hands. Someone that is certainly a lot cheaper though, the other end of the spectrum, one of the cheapest players in this list is Igor Strazalek. Apologies on that pronunciation, I'm sure that was not great. But he's playing for Legia Warsaw out in the Polish divisions in their under-19 side. A breakthrough prospect at the club that can be picked up for about £200,000. Recommended again in the comments as a player that someone really loved, and I could see why he could be a great option. If you're a lower level team or something, to pick him up for so cheap could be a great deal. Obviously you might have work permit rules in the UK, but outside of the UK, he could be a great pickup who's going to 10 times in value at some point, even if he doesn't grow that much. I really do think with a little bit of growth, he could be a great player, and he's actually got a lot of ability for an 18-year-old. Can pass well, good vision, good first touch, not the best goal scorer, but he can dribble nicely, a nice long shot on him. Yes, he's not world class in any sense, but for this kind of price point, we're not expecting that. He can play central midfield or as a number 10. I'll give him a 7 out of 10, a nice young option that you can pick up for cheap and hopefully make a big profit on or become a star for your side. And we're into our final 3 players now, all strikers, all attackers. Don't forget to like the video if you are enjoying up to this point, but we are looking at a 24-year-old striker valued at about £1,700,000, somewhere in that range, playing for Cittadella, a team out in the Italian 2nd division. Seems to be a lot of gems there, and this Spaniard's name is Raul Ascencia. Now, he's been doing a tour of the Italian divisions by the looks of it, played for Genoa, then scored quite a few goals in the 2nd division, bounced around into the 2nd division of Spain, now finds himself at Cittadella, hasn't really found a home anywhere yet, but if you can give him one, this man could score a lot of goals. Yes, he's not the quickest or the best goal scorer or the best passer, but he can do everything at a decent level. A great base set of attributes is a phrase I always like to say, and it certainly fits Asensio here. Whether he's going to live up to the famous Spanish player Raul, I don't think so, but certainly someone that's got great ability. I mean, decent strength, decent passing, 6'2", physicals that are really well balanced, no real flaw in his game, good technically and good mentally. Yes, it might not have worked for him in real life, but in the Football Manager world, this is a high-level championship striker, or if you were maybe a low-level team in Serie A or the Bundesliga or the Spanish division, he could be a top goal scorer. But he does actually have a potential of close to 140. About now, he's sitting at about 110 current abilities. He's got a lot of room to get better yet. Clearly some unfulfilled potential there, and maybe, just maybe, this guy could end up being a top draw striker for you. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. Now, from your recommendations, I've actually left my favourite until last, but as our penultimate player, we are looking at Lorenzo Luca. Now, I had loads of comments of people saying, why isn't he getting mentioned? Well, to be honest, I just thought he was too well known to do so. On FM22, he was one of the best young strikers in the world. Obviously moved to Ajax on loan this year. I don't think it's quite worked out for him as far as I'm aware. In the Football Manager world, after season 1, he'll pretty much always end up back at Pisa. You don't usually see Ajax playing the £8.5 million optional future fee. So then he finds himself in the 2nd division of Italy for Pisa, and you're able to go ahead and usually get him for a pretty cut price deal. I mean, he's everything you'd want in a striker. 6'7", 21 years of age, brilliant in the air, strong, fairly quick, great heading ability, can pass well, good finishing ability as well. The fact that he can play complete forward at the age of 21 shows you just how good he can be. Great mental attributes on top of that. He's got some nice player traits as well. A nice hold-up player, but also not too bad technically at all. I think complete forward suits him down to the ground. One of the best young strikers in the world. If you don't know about FM this year, if you have someone that's good in the air or quick or strong, some kind of really excessive physical attribute, you're going to see that player play really well in the in-game engine, better than you'd expect. And that's when often we find these overpowered players. And being 6'7" with great jumping reach, strength and decent pace as well, this man is going to tear it up in the in-game engine, I'm sure of it. So check him out if he does end up going back to Pisa. And that leaves us with our final player, I think my favourite suggestion from the comments, and I actually am surprised I've never heard of this man, and that is the Angolan striker Ambala Zola, who plays for Spezia out in the Italian First Division. He's valued at about 8 million, is wanted by 2 mid-table Premier League level clubs, which goes to show you that this guy clearly has talent. He's played for his national team and scored twice, but why is he so good, in my opinion? Well, I just mentioned earlier, if you have a really high physical attribute, whether that's pace, strength, or aerial reach, or something like that, you're going to see a player play really well in the in-game engine. Well, and Zola here, the left-footed striker, has the strength of an absolute ox, whilst also being so quick, great natural fitness, great balance and agility. He is a physical threat as an advanced forward, in my opinion. If you played some balls over the top to him, he's going to absolutely tear it up. He's going to get on the end of it. No one's going to be able to keep up with him. If someone does catch up to him, he'll strength them off, get in front of them, and score a goal. I mean, contract until 2024 means his transfer valuation is far lower than it should be. Spezia aren't exactly a team that could really reject the money or hold on to him for too long. At least in the FM world, he is a level above Spezia, so they're going to really struggle to hold on to him. A good finisher, decent work rate, teamwork, off the ball work, first touch, dribbling, all of this at a high level, great technique as well, but he could have all of these attributes at a 5, to be honest. He's quick and he's strong, so he'll score goals anyway. It's just a bonus that he's actually really good at loads of other things as well. Left-footed striker, Ambala Zola, no idea, I've never came across him, but a great suggestion from you guys. Another one that I'm going to give a 9.5 rating to. Great value for money there. A Premier League level mid-table striker for sure. Maybe this will be the last episode of a series. Maybe we'll do a follow-up if we get some more comments, so don't forget to leave your suggestions in the comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed. Come check out my channel, linked in the description, but most of all, have a great day, everyone. Thank you for your suggestions, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, and goodbye.